We're live.
66 years old. I'll be 67 in October.
Really?
And I'm starting a new era.
What's that mean?
I'm going to have my own podcast.
Oh, you are?
And I'm going to have a
Look at this.
TV interview show on WLNS and WLIG coming up, and it's right here. I'm giving this to you. Beyond the Playbook with David Mad Dog Demarco. The podcast will start probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
You're my competitor.
I'm not a competitor to anyone.
You're going to take me down.
Dr. Paul Rashid is our first signee, and we have sponsors. Like, you know, we've done some business together.
Yeah, for sure.
And so then we will do the television show. It'll be hopefully set up like Johnny Carson, and I'll be sitting here, and we'll have different sponsors and different athletes and different politicians and different restaurateurs and come in. And
I got like 12 followers, and now you're going to take half of them.
It's going to be on Roku.
Your wife thinks it's funny.
Well, she's going to be one of the. She's probably on your side there, but it's going to be very entertaining. Michael Grunewald got a hold of me about 4 months ago in Alabama.
Michael,
do you know Michael Grunewald?
I know the.
Everybody knows him. He called me in Alabama. And he said, David, when you come back, because our house was up for sale for 13 months. It's a beautiful home. It finally sold a month ago. He goes, are you going to be back on the radio? I go, I don't know. And he goes, well, let me make some calls. And he did. And I got, I'm going to be doing this. And Susan Angel has been a big part of this.
Doing what, though? You say doing this.
I'm going to be doing, it's set up different. Like I was telling Charlie, it's set up different. Because right now the anchors at Channel 6 are doing it, and they edit their mine. It's going to be unedited. I'm the guinea pig. I'm going to be live, and then I will do the TV show. Will be separate, and that's going to be in this TV studio.
Like a 30-minute.
No, it's going to be at least an hour.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it'll be at least an hour.
When will it run?
It's going to run about 6 or 7 o'clock on Sundays, and it's going to be on LAJ. I'm not exactly sure that, but I know that it's going to be interesting. And people go, well, you don't have any TV background. Well, I beg to differ. I have about 4 or 5 years. I did Bob Every's show, Every Spin on Sports at Lansing Community College, and you know that.
Well, you're not producing a TV show.
No. I'm going to be with.
You're going to be the host.
I'm an independent contractor for.
No, I'm sort of critical of anybody who says you don't have a TV background. Well, yeah, if you were producing it. You might
some people, they always recognize that I was on radio.
Yeah.
Because there's been opportunities where I thought maybe I could have got an opportunity locally to do some television and just was never given that opportunity. And now it's upon me that I'm going to have an opportunity to do it.
Yeah. You're kind of an intense guy, aren't you?
I'm not here to push baby buggies, Andrew. You should talk about intense. I mean, we run in the same accord. I was telling Sam that your dad and your 2 uncles were really good friends of the Demarcos.
Yeah.
And your Uncle Dick I knew more because of your cousin Sam is one of my best friends. And we graduated from Lansing Catholic High School in 77, and he's doing well up in Traverse City.
It was Lansing Catholic Central then.
I know. I just wanted to be,
I
wanted to be formally. Yeah, that's right. That's me.
So you're born and raised in Lansing, right?
That's right. My family owned Demarco's Restaurant and Bar on 600 South Pennsylvania for probably 90 or plus years.
Was there only one, or was there 2?
There was only one. My grandparents started it, and then my 3 uncles and my dad. It was Vic, Bob, Ed, and Jim Demarco, and those guys. My uncle Jim died young of lung cancer, but those guys worked their lives there every other week. 2 of them would work days, and then 2 of them worked nights, and they said just switch. And then the family, I graduated.
Basically, is it the same footprint today that it was then, or have they added on?
No, it's done. Demarco's is non-existent.
No, I know, but the building itself is still there.
Well, I haven't been there since the gentleman that took it over from Dan Baker. Dan Baker bought it from my uncle and my cousin's husband, and it was pretty much set up like
the same footprint.
Yeah,
far as that Dan Baker, when he bought it from you, basically ran the same footprint.
He did some adjustments because they didn't have a party store.
Oh, okay.
Because I know that Corey's had the same thing where they had a party store, and I know Tony M's does that, and we had that. I think it was grandfathered through law, but that's where I gained a work ethic. I mean, I started working in the kitchen when I was 12.
You were an only child?
Only child.
And I'm just doing the math here. You were born 59?
Yes, October 22nd.
59.
Yeah.
And where'd you grow up?
I grew up, I'd gone to Mont Hope School first, and then my father built a home in Delta Township on Applewood, and gone to St. Gerard from 4th grade to 8th grade, and then Catholic Central, and then Central Michigan.
So I don't even know where Mount Hope is.
Mount Hope School.
By Sycamore Golf Course, or
it's across the street from Smith Floral. But since we were gone for 3.5 years to Alabama, they demolished it and built it up. Yeah. Now it's like a university.
Yeah. And so then you went to St. Gerard's.
Went to St. Gerard.
Who would you have gone to school with there?
Probably nobody that you know, because Sam didn't go to St. Gerard.
No.
I'm trying to think of. Just, great people.
Right.
John Smoltz grew up about 3 or 4 blocks from me, but he was, of course, younger
than you. Yeah.
And he had gone to St. Gerard, too, and then he had gone to Catholic Central for 1 year.
He was more in the
and he went to
late 60s, maybe.
He was in the 80s.
No, I mean when he was born.
Yeah, that's what he would be.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what was it like growing up as an only kid? I mean, I wouldn't have any idea what that was like because I grew up with 9 siblings.
Yeah, I know a lot of siblings. Okay, so it sort of had the stereotype that you're really spoiled.
Right.
And I didn't like that stereotype because, I mean, I had greater opportunities maybe than the next kid, but my dad, he didn't mess around. He said, you're going to get a work ethic. And I mean, mowing the lawn, young age, working at the restaurant, young age, helping around the house, young age, carrying your own weight, young age. And then Jim Burns, who his father, Jim Burns Sr., was Farhat Burns and Story.
Right.
Jim Jr.,
Jimmy Burns,
my best friend, he lives in Arizona. He's been an attorney. His wife's an attorney. His 2 daughters are attorneys. He was an only child, too, so we sort of became really close. And his mother was really close with my family because Jimmy's half Irish and half Italian because DeRose was her maiden name. And then Jim grew up in Marmore, and so we just became very, very close.
And is it Applewood? Is that?
I grew up on Applewood, and coincidentally, he grew up on an apple tree right off of Willow there.
Right, so close. Not too far apart.
No, not too far apart. And we, it is not easy being an only child. I mean, that's why my imagination is like, pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But don't ask my wife that.
So, St. Gerard, did you play sports?
Yes, I did.
In elementary?
Played football and baseball there.
Did they have football?
Oh, yeah. They had the Capital
like
League.
Fifth grade or 6th grade?
7th and 8th grade.
Oh, so that was a middle school too.
7th and 8th, yeah. That was one of the only ones at the end that had. Right. But there was Holy Cross, Resurrection, IHM, St. Therese, St. Casimir, and St. Gerard.
Right, and sports, was that a big part of your life?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was.
Tell me why. I mean, your dad's working all the time.
Yeah, right. He did, and it's funny because you are a golfer. Your family, as you played at Michigan State, and my dad was an unbelievable lover of golf.
Really,
and he didn't get to play like he wanted. He got hooked. Right. He bit it. He could have been very, very good, but he just didn't get to play enough. And that's how I sort of started playing.
Where did he play?
He played he went to Weberville a lot.
Oakland.
He played at the club a little bit. He played at Forest Acres. He played at Grossbeck.
Royal Scott.
He could in a little bit Royal Scott, but he could only golf on Sundays because Demarco's was closed on Sundays, so he didn't really get to go like he wanted. But I mean, he took me to the Doral when I was in 6th grade, and I got to meet Lee Trevino
to the golf tournament.
Yeah. And I walked the Blue Monster.
That was usually in the winter months.
It was great, yeah, because we had a home the Demarcos did in Hallandale, Florida, where Gulfstream Racetrack is. It's right next to Hollywood, Florida. And the 4 families would go down there seasonally. And then my Uncle Bob and Aunt Stella bought a condominium right up the street from Gulfstream Racetrack. So the 3 families would. So I, out of birth, was going to South Florida, for so many years.
Italian heritage, right?
Yeah, it's big in my life. It's big in a lot of the Italian community in Lansing.
And in Lansing, we have a lot of Italian families.
Well, it's like you. It's like you with the Lebanese family.
Right.
I was just talking to Dr. Paul Rashid.
Yeah, so there's, we go way back. But you have the Demarcos, right?
Yeah.
And the
Demarcos, the Fedas, Spagnolos, the Vitris, there's tons of Stornets. You got to put the Stornets right there too.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Fabiano Candy. Those families.
Almost all Catholic, right?
All Catholic.
Right. And big families.
I'm like one of only small ones. Of my family, of the 4 families, I was the only child. And
you were the only family of your father's brothers in which there was only one child born.
Well, that's correct. And you had to learn how to, you got bullied. Don't get me wrong. Before bullying was, the way it is.
That's part of just being raised, right?
And then you had to just learn to punch somebody in the face sooner or later when you got older, and that's what I did.
And so you start working at the bar pretty early.
Yeah, I'm not exaggerating. I started working at the bar. Well, I started cleaning the parking lot there in the back when I was like 7 years old, 8 years old. My cousins, and out of nowhere, my dad said
along the train tracks.
Yeah, right there, and then in the back parking lot. I used to do that all the time, and then my dad. He was intense for work. I mean, he wanted to really install a work ethic in me, and he did. And I started working a little bit in the kitchen at 12 years old. You couldn't even do that. I would wash dishes by hand. We didn't have an automatic. And my Uncle Vic used to call it diving for pearls. And then I worked in the kitchen all throughout high school. And then when I graduated, I'd gone to Central Michigan. I'd come home every summer and work. But then I also, every other weekend, I'd come home from Mount Pleasant, get my $50 to $60 in the kitchen and go back to Mount Pleasant.
Isn't that funny how a single bar could support
It's unbelievable.
4 families?
Well, I mean, we took pride in the food there. And we also had people that had worked there for 30 years, 20 years, 15 years, because it was a really solid place.
Not only could it support your family, but all the people that worked there, right?
Well, that's exactly right. And then there was a lot of my cousins and myself that attended college. My cousin Mike graduated from Notre Dame. My cousin Patty had gone to art school. And my late cousin Bill had gone to art school. I graduated from Central Michigan. My cousin John graduated from college. So, there was a lot. And my cousin Anne Marie and Renee, it was pretty good.
I think what you're trying to say is not only did it support the 4 families, but they were able to send you to college.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that's one thing that was fortunate.
Your mom probably didn't work, did she?
No, my mom was a stay-home mom. Corky, that was her nickname, Dolores. And Corky was. I had great parents. I mean, I had great parents.
And so you're working at the restaurant, and there's at least an image of Italian people working in a restaurant that
Well, I didn't have a problem like when they say with The Godfather, and because there was people that joke around with this and that with our family, and we had, of course, no ties. Now I don't know if my grandpa Joe DeMarco
no ties to
any kind of extracurricular activity.
Right.
But I know that we took pride in the food that was served there. We took pride in, conducting ourselves right. And I still to this day, and my wife can confirm this, people still come up all the time and they miss Demarco's. And I miss Demarco's.
Where was it people getting out of work at the Oldsmobile? Is that where your customers were?
They were from all over. Okay, so they were white collar, they were blue collar. There were people that would walk up from in that neighborhood area. But you said that's pretty funny because every Friday for Andrew, for many years, the different areas of Oldsmobile would order an unbelievable amount of food, and then they'd come and get potato chips and milk and pop and this and
from
that.
the party store.
So we'd have to, like, when we were there, we'd have to wrap them in tin foil, like their own little oven to stay warm. And we're talking thousands of dollars in pizzas every Friday that would happen. I mean, we got to a point where I was telling somebody this the other day. Every other year, when Ohio State would come from Columbus to East Lansing, we had an orthodontist. In August, he would call in his order 65 submarines, 85 submarines, sandwiches, and then we would have the ticket in the kitchen, and we'd know, like, September 21st that this food is gonna. And so we'd have like a line with my uncles and even my dad and my cousins, and then they'd have RVs coming in when RVs started with Ohio State flags, and they'd have them all parked in the back. And I mean, it was
to make all the subs. The line in the kitchen was to somebody would put the mayo on and somebody would put the lettuce on, and you'd pass the sub down. Right?
We don't have to order extra stuff. Oh, it was just crazy. I mean, if I had a nickel for every sandwich I made there. The best sandwich in Demarco's was a steak mushroom, provolone cheese, but a steak mushroom. And Corey's and Bill and Jimmy and Tommy, if they're watching, they make as close to that sandwich as possible.
Really?
And it's fabulous.
So back then you had Demarco's had competitors. I mean, restaurants that, like the Frontier Bar and
I mean, the other
Richard's
side. And Richard was a cousin.
Right.
The Lucas were almost cousins at the Willow Bar. And, there was, and don't forget, I'm trying to think. Casanova, they were like family. Celentino's, James Stagos, the Eagle. I know that your dad and all those guys went to the Eagle. James Stagos owns Pro Fireworks. His family had owned that. And then there was the Jack Tar before then there was Archie Tarpoff's.
Right.
And I got to know him pretty well too.
And I assume you walked to school every day?
Well, when I'd gone to Mount Hope, I did.
Yeah.
And then when I was at St. Gerard, I did. And then Catholic Central, I got bused for the 1 year, and then we walked.
Walked to school.
We walked to school. It's like Abe Lincoln did.
Well, I mean, that's the way everybody did it back then.
Yeah,
right?
we walked. Yeah.
Get your group of friends or whatever, and everybody walked. And not. I don't think my kids ever once walked to school. I don't think my kids ever took the bus to school.
I did 1 year. I did from Catholic Central. Well, I mean, that was then, and this is now.
Yeah,
I mean, you look at when you're growing up, when I was growing up, when my wife's growing up, no cell phones, no computers. I mean,
3 stations,
45 records,
2.5 stations.
Yeah, and tinfoil, and so it was different.
And so, what gets you playing baseball?
Started playing baseball through my cousin Joe Demarco was an outstanding athlete at Gabriel's. He lived across the street from me, and I just want to emulate him, even though he threw left-handed. But my goal really, I wanted to have a shot at playing collegiately and playing. You may go to the next level. I started collecting ball cards when I was real young, and that's what really what my destiny was with the sports radio thing. Because my memorization of these ball players, but then I really fell in love with baseball, and I loved playing all sport. I played every position except pitched.
Really?
And I had a little bit of problem in high school with the coach, but I don't want to get into that at this point in time. But I still love baseball like it's no other. I mean,
and Central used to have at least
great teams.
Yeah, they had dominant teams.
As a matter of fact, when I first had gone there, I did try out for the team, but I didn't like exactly the situation. But Tom Tresh, who I think was the Rookie of the Year in the 60s, he was from Mount Pleasant, and he played for the Yankees. And I think his son, he's deceased now, his son was named Mickey Tresh after Mickey Mantle. And he had an office in Mount Pleasant at Central Michigan, which was right next door to where I lived at Barnard Hall, and it's not in existence anymore. So I just walked in there one day, and I said, you're Tom Tresh. And I was a freshman. He said, yeah. I sat with the guy for like an hour and became friends with him and started talking about his day with the Yankees. I love the Yankees, love the Tigers.
He was the coach, Tresh?
No, he was an employee there.
Oh.
But I mean, I'm sure he was an advisor of the team. But they had really good teams.
Yeah, they when I was in high school, you knew Central Michigan.
CMU, and they got a great stadium.
Baseball, yeah.
Yeah,
they got the Rose Arena.
Rose Arena, I saw
where they practiced.
I'll tell you right now, as far as something that I saw that was unbelievable, was Larry Bird was on the cover of the magazine of Sports Illustrated with Big Bird. Nobody knew who Larry Bird was. So like the timeline was the next couple weeks, he came in with Carl Nix and the Indiana State Sycamores to play Central Michigan. Nobody knew who this guy was.
Undefeated.
And so I don't know if it was that season or the next year. I think it was undefeated. And Jeff Troll from Holt, who I became buds with, Larry Bird was out of his mind. He made, he scored 45, 50 points. It was the record in Rose Arena. And you can ask Jeff Droth this because he'll tell you. Bird made a shot falling out of bounds in the corner, shot the ball with Troth laying on him. Troth 6'11". The ball went over the trajectory of the backboard all net. And Jeff Troth to this day will say, how did he ever made that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's when Larry Bird to me came on the radar with Irvin.
What did you study in?
Industrial management and supervision.
At Central Michigan?
Yeah, that's what and what's funny is I was in a fraternity and I had guys that begged me to get into journalism, begged me to get into TV journalism, and I just didn't. I fell into this. I'm self-taught. That's why, people say he's rough around the edges. I want to be rough around the edges.
Yeah.
I'm not Walter Cronkite doing sports radio.
So when did you graduate from Central?
In 82. I went 5 years. I started when I was 17. I graduated from Catholic Central at 17.
You didn't have any idea you'd want to get into radio or sports radio?
I liked it. I got into sports talk radio by a guy named Papa Joe Chevalier in a radio show.
Oh, yeah.
And I became friends with him because I faxed him every day. So then they had, it was after my dad.
But in 82, that's when you graduated?
Graduated in 82.
Was there sports talk radio in 82?
No. Sports talk radio started on WFAN, The Fan in New York, I would say in the early 90s for sure. And this was in 96.
Maybe late 80s.
Maybe it started, but I know that Mike and the other Mad Dog, Chris Russo, they're one of the first shows. Well, I take that back. I remember in 6th and 7th grade listening in Florida when I told you I was in Florida. Howard Cosell used to do stuff with sports talk radio,
but not
like it is now.
Yeah,
or like it was.
And so the idea of you doing sports talk radio wasn't even a profession when you were in college, really.
No, it wasn't. I mean, radio was. I know that Jeff Daniels had gone to Central Michigan, and because he told me this story when he was at one of the radio stations when he was visiting, he had gone to Central Michigan, and then he left to go be in Broadway, and then he turned into a movie star. They had a really good drama area there
at Central,
and then they had a great broadcasting. And I just, for whatever reason, it just didn't.
What do you do when you get done at Central?
Well, that was a good question.
Because they would have had a good football team too, right?
Oh, they had good teams.
I mean, basically, if you were in high school in this area and you got recruited by Central, that was a big deal.
Oh, right? Yeah. I mean, it still is. I mean, Central's, the stuff they have up there now, it's like, since Soaring Eagle opened up there, and I mean, it's big time.
Yeah.
I didn't go around to different things. I thought I was going to be an investment consultant. That I thought I couldn't. After that, OSHA safety, industrial safety was my minor, and then Reagan cut all the jobs out, so there was no jobs. I almost moved to Houston. I had a lot of friends that moved to Houston, but my Corky didn't want me to move to Houston because I'm the only child.
You're talking about in the 80s.
Yeah, it was in 82. So I worked at the restaurant. I did this. I did that. And
came back to Lansing.
Yeah, I stayed. I stayed here up until we moved to Alabama 3.5 years ago.
Yeah. And so tell me what you worked at the restaurant for how long?
Off and on for a while, and then I did I'm trying to think. It was so long ago. I mean, mostly I worked there, and then I did work at radio. First year, George Perlis, the year that he took the Spartans to the Rose Bowl.
87.
Okay, I got into it a little bit with my uncle, and I left the restaurant, and a guy got me a job in advertising sales for whatever the station is on Kavanaugh. So I worked there.
Channel 10.
No, radio.
Oh,
so
radio.
I worked for Charlie McElravy, and those guys turned me and George Falk, and they taught me how to be a radio salesman.
AM or FM?
Both, simulcast.
Okay.
And then it's by Everett High School. And then I came back, and a couple times I left the restaurant, and that's how I started my sales. So I you know me, I'm a salesman.
Because you're working with family, right?
Yeah, there's
a good and bad thing about working with family, right?
There is great things and there are disappointing things, but I wouldn't trade one thing that happened to me in my life because you know that it teaches you how to deal with adversity. It teaches you how to, the highs and lows. And every day is not going to be fun. And you know one thing, if you're going to Demarco's to work, you better be going to work because they're going to be busy.
So Papa Joe comes out sometime. I want to say it was late '80s, but maybe it wasn't.
Yeah, it might have been. He
and you're faxing him every day.
Every day, he read it every day.
Like what? What would you fax?
Just crazy stuff.
Like what though?
Like some game, and I'm like, how in the hell did you think that happened? And this guy, was like Stevie Wonder out on the field. He couldn't see what he's doing. Things like that, and he really caught to that. And so then they had this party. It was after my dad passed away in '93, unexpectedly.
Papa Joe was out of New York?
He was out of Las Vegas.
And he did the Fan at 7:30, the Fan, or different?
Yeah. He did it the Fan, but not the WFAN in New York. That was separate. So then he was on, and then I brought him here twice. Stephen Feda, who owned Reno, Steve Areno.
Right.
Stephen, we brought him here at Reno's East and West. And then that's when I got a radio show.
Tell me how that happened.
So coming up April 1st in a couple weeks, it'll be 30 years to the day that the sports guys came into existence. And it was Randy Plunt and Jeff Hager. And they wanted me to be part of this, but I had no experience.
30 years
30 years to the day.
Would be 96?
96. And so they called me.
See how good I am at math.
Well, I mean, that's why you're Andrew Hood. And he says, would you like to be on part of this show? And I go, well, hell yeah.
So Tim Stout had already been on for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah,
right?
he was on. I think he did a show from his home then.
Right. So he's on the radio, and that's obviously popular and doing well.
Yeah.
And that's on 7:30, right?
Yeah, he and then they had Ken Landau. No, I take that. Yeah, no, they had Dan Gutowski was on a show there.
And he followed. Was he local or national?
Yeah, he was local. He was the PD there.
Okay.
And I don't know. I mean,
PD
he was
usually I think of PD as police department. So
well, sometimes they think they are.
PD is what?
Yeah, is program director.
Okay. So he was running his own show.
Gutowski was, yeah.
Right.
And there wasn't a lot of money then.
Right.
And the way Tim has it set up now, he has it still set up, 36 years later. He's an independent contractor, and then he started doing his show from the studio.
And but you're gonna follow Tim's show? Is that what it is?
I don't.
Is that what it was in '96?
Yeah, I think it was. We had the sports guy. So Randy Plunt left the show to go to work at Whittle, WITL, and it was just Jeff Hager and I.
At the start?
Yeah, Jeff is a retired principal and school teacher.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves because you're doing something, right?
Oh yeah.
Besides, I mean, you're not making a living faxing.
No, I was
right.
What happened
is you're
doing
something.
My dad passed away.
Okay.
So I left Demarco's.
Okay.
Okay. So the timeline
in '95 or so.
It was in '93.
Okay.
So I worked at DBI Office Interiors.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I went back to a radio station.
Schneider.
No, I went back to work at George.
Yeah.
And I went to work at community newspapers in Grand Ledge again. And then I went to work at Mac's Bar.
Selling.
I ran Mac's
the
Bar.
Community News. You're selling.
I was an advertising salesman.
Okay.
And then Paul Feda, the late Paulie Feda, he hired me to run his bar at night at Mac's Bar down the street.
So you're running 2 jobs?
No, I just
three?
I jumped around.
Okay.
That's why it's hard for me to figure out, because I played checkers.
And somebody says, "Hey, you want to be on the radio?"
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, and like, why though?
Because they thought I probably had an opportunity that I had possible talent and possible unique things. And
you probably didn't. They probably weren't going to pay you very much.
We didn't get paid very much. I was the one that got us paid because I got us a lot of live shows. In my life, I've probably done close to 3,000 tailgates. And
before you do this deal, are you calling into Tim's show all the time?
I don't think that that's going to happen.
No, did you in '93?
No, I never called Tim's show.
Oh, you didn't? It was
my style.
No, but I mean, you're faxing Papa Joe.
Yeah.
I assumed you called him too.
I called Dan Gutowski's show, and I didn't call Tim's show. I just didn't call it. Not that I didn't like it.
You guys are friends.
Yeah, we are. We're friends.
Yeah, you've done shows together, right?
We've done a lot of shows together.
Yeah,
but you also got to understand. Tim was here for a long time, and then out of nowhere, this show comes into.
Yeah.
And he's like probably thinking, where in the hell did these guys come from?
Right.
And so we have a good friendship. Yeah.
So you're 90. You're jumping around from job to job. Mac's Bar back then was still
busy,
happening place.
It was nuts.
Live music.
Yes, it was nuts.
Place where the Michigan State people went for. Yeah, it had a cult following, really.
Yeah, like Demarco's. Demarco's had a cult following too, with Bron Mason and all those guys.
Yeah. So they call you to do this radio show, and what is there's an allure to being in as a part of the talent.
Well,
right?
part of this what happened. So I started doing the radio show, but I still was working at Mac's Bar. It's coming back to
you had to.
But so the sales manager at the time, we were on Mount Hope, the station on Mount Hope.
Yeah, I know. Right before the highway.
But right before Mount Hope Cemetery.
Yeah.
And this guy comes and he's have a couple pops, and he goes, "You're David Demarco." And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "You're doing this show, right?" And I go, "Yeah, we just started." And he goes, "Your nickname's Mad Dog." I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "I understand you have a background in sales." And I said, "Yeah, I do." He said, "Would you like to come to the radio station and sell advertising instead of, working till 2:30 in the morning behind the bar here at Mac's?" And I said, "Yeah, where do I sign up?" And so that's how I left. I don't think my cousin Paul Feda was real hip to that, but he understood. So then I was a full-time employee for Liggett Broadcasting and Jim Jensen and those guys.
Oh, yeah. Jimmy.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah. And so you are running your own show.
Yes.
Or a show with other people, and you are also selling advertising for everybody.
All the shows. And then
including Tim's show.
Well, you could. Tim's it's the same situation. Tim's an independent contractor, and he sells his own stuff. But there have been times where I've sold into his show or did this and that. But yes, people still.
Tim's not only his own talent, but he sells all his own.
Tim is, from afar, I've looked at Tim Stout and respected the longevity that he has accomplished. Sure. It's beyond comprehension what he's done. And whether people want to get, if you're in the limelight, Andrew Boot, Dave DeMarco, Tim Stout, people are going to gas you. And it's if you can like just let it go. It's hard a lot of the times. I've gotten used to it. But the Dean is, he's historic. He's the most tenured TV guy. He's been on the radio. He's had different producers.
Maybe in the country.
Yeah, and maybe in the country is right. And I learned, I've picked up little pieces from a lot of different people locally and nationally, but that's one thing. Interviewing style, Tim Stout, Fred Heumann are solid.
Right.
And I've picked up, the selling aspect, and I just took it another because I worked for for what happened is then they got everybody called it Radio One, and all the stations got
right,
together, and Rod Kroll ran the thing, and then they made me the promotion director for WVFN and WGIM AM. And Chris Holman had a show, and Scott Moore was his producer, and then we had a show, and this and that. So what happens is, and I'm not going to get into all that. I'm going to go ahead. Town Square Media took over. Right. But before that, Rick Serrata, who was the general manager at 10, he came in, was hired, and he said, Dave, I can make you full-time. And so then he made me a full-time salesman. So for the last, I've been gone now for 3.5 years, but up until then, I was one, if only a few in this country, that I was a full-time broadcaster and full-time account executive for the radio station.
You are running your show.
Let me ask you. You're one of the top attorneys in the country.
You don't get to ask me questions.
Yes, I do. And why? I mean, you're acting like just ask me anything.
Tell me how you were going to make money going on the show.
Going on what show?
Going on your show, having your own show. How are you going to?
You mean this show here coming up in Channel 6?
Back in 95, 96.
Oh, well, I didn't even care. Just for given an opportunity, I was going to figure it out because I knew I had a sales aptitude I was going to grow with the sales. In this day and age, they say ratings aren't first, revenue generating and ratings is second, because there's a lot of crap shows locally and nationally, but they might bring in some money. All the stations want to do is, they're not there to not make money. They're there to make money.
So what kind of deal do you cut that? Did you cut a deal where you got a percentage of the revenue?
Yeah, you as a salesman, it's part of your deal.
No, I'm talking about for your show.
Oh, yeah.
For the show.
So for Town Square Media, I got paid a lot of different ways. I got paid endorsements. I got paid hourly. I got paid salary. And I got paid with my show. So it was all combined. Oh, don't get me wrong. I've always been underpaid.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a critical thing about anything.
And you go on the show. You remember the first time, your first show?
Yeah, I was out of my mind.
You were nervous?
No, I was vulgar. I was sort of sexist. I was sort of Howard Sternish for sports talk radio.
Was that intentional or?
Yes, very intentional.
Okay. Did you? How much did you prep for it?
I prepped like a banshee. I prepped like when my show had gone, when Jeff Hager left the show, and I'm gonna forward ahead. I prepped, but I taught myself when I came back, because they had built the station. There was 2 sports stations for a while, for 4 years. There was I think it was called The Game or The Ticket, and we were at Q106, and they recruited me to be the main guy. And Jack Ebling and Tom Crawford, and that's how Mike Valeni started. He was their producer, but he was my producer. He was still going to Michigan State. So I brought Mike in. And then there was a couple other shows, and then after 4 years, they cut the cord on it for whatever reason, because it was making decent money. And then they recruited me to come back over here, because I was huge. Come back over to the station now. They weren't Town Square Media yet.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you're looking at 27, 30 years here we're talking. So, a lot of stuff is different.
But you have experience talking, obviously, and bartending and customer service.
We call bartending social chemists.
But now you're on the radio.
I'm going to be back on. Well, let me tell you what I did in Alabama.
Hold on a minute. Do you know you're on the radio with Hagar, right?
Jeff Hagar.
First couple of months or whatever. You're probably excited about doing it, right?
Yeah, I was jacked up.
Do you know it's going to be a call-in show, or did you have a format? So the call-in show is different than other radio shows, because you in some ways the call-ins are what fill the air, right?
Call-ins, listeners are what make the show.
Right.
Listeners or viewers make the show. You can have. Right. I mean, I've had unbelievable guests.
But you have like Paul Harvey's on the radio for years.
Yeah.
He didn't have call-ins. He didn't have people calling. But he had sometimes guests, and he had stories that he talked about.
That's another part of it. Storytelling is, you're learning. Storytelling is a big part of it. You're right.
Yes. But my question is, did you know when you started the show that it was going to be a lot of call-ins and you talk about a subject? And
Well, I mean, like I was telling Charlie, I mean, after as much experience, I've had everything thrown at me. Okay, so
Right.
you learn by osmosis, you learn by experience. I mean, you learn by people saying really terrible stuff to you in public. You learn by people saying crazy stuff on the radio to you. You learn from other media members getting back to you that they've backstabbed you or so. You just gotta go with the flow. You just got to keep going ahead.
Right. Yeah, right, I got it. But you're coming into those first couple months. I mean, what was the idea?
My idea was to just tear it up and just grind it, that they've never heard a person without dropping F-bombs, and to this day I've never dropped an F-bomb ever.
I just did one on social media yesterday, but
Well, that stuff
I
happens.
got a lot of
But what you're saying is you don't know what to expect from day to day. That's one thing about my show. Always, you don't know what to expect. You don't know what I'm going to say the next
But
minute.
my question is, did anybody come in and say, Tim's got this show, this is what we're going to do? Or was it like, you got 2 hours, fill it up?
No, that's the way it was. It was called the Sports Guys, and we just brought it. I mean, Jeff is an intellectual kind of guy, academic guy that knows sports unbelievable, and I'm a guy that came out of nowhere with a name like Demarco's, but a lot of people laughed at it. They're like, what the hell is he doing? What the hell? I've had cousins that they thought, why is Dave being a clown? Why is he doing it? But I proved them all wrong.
And you're on the show first couple weeks. I mean, are there periods of time where nobody's calling or?
Oh yeah, that gone. Yeah, I mean, we brought Larry Lage in too. He was the third sports guy, and he's the head of AP. And I mean, we had fun clowning around, but we gave entertainment. It wasn't.
What was the point of what was the idea was, okay, it's Monday, it's Tuesday. Okay, you're on the air. Obviously, Tuesday during the fall, it's football season. Mm-hmm. I mean, was there like a general script or an outline, or just, hey, we're on the air, and did you see the game last night? Or
it was like that. You lit a fuse. That's the way I always had it in my head.
Right.
I lit a fuse, and then I'm just going to go with it. And if somebody calls up and they're going to be difficult or they're going to be contentious, then I'm going to bury them.
Right.
But then I had to soften up. Like there's different layers of the onion with Dave Demarco on the radio.
Right.
When I first started, I mean, I was like a terrorist, like a sports terrorist.
Right.
I mean, I for an instance, Hager was still the partner. Wayne Fonts was the head coach of the Lions.
That would have been in 95, 96?
And they got crushed by the Giants. And I came out.
And other teams.
And I came out, and because Wayne Fonts was from State, and Wayne Fonts was tight with George Perlis and Henry Bulla, I learned this real quick. George wasn't part of this story. So we come out, and I'm like, does anybody know, like in Godfather 3, where you can get something to put in cannolis so we can give that to Wayne Fonts? And if people don't know what I'm talking about, just watch Godfather 3 and you'll know what the cyanide and the cannoli treatment is. So people figured that out. So Jeff was laughing, and it was pretty much.
It wasn't just. It was obviously unjust.
Yeah, but that's no way Henry Bullitt took it. So we're doing this live show at Buddy's like a week later. And I knew who Henry Bull is, never met him before. So he comes to us, and before we started, he, and you know Henry, knew Henry.
Yeah.
And he and I we were tight. Not this time. This is the first time I ever met him. He goes, which one of you is Mad Dog? And you know how he talked. I spoke, and I said, I am. He goes, I think I need to talk to you a minute. And I said, Coach Bull, are you sure? And he's like, are you going to come on the show? He goes, no, I don't want to come on any damn show that you're doing. He goes, come here. So he takes me on the parking lot, and he just proceeded to give me verbal whiplash. And he said, do you understand what you just said on the radio about Wayne Fonts? That people can pick that up, and how many people are not liking the Lions and not liking what's going on. And if they see Wayne is a personal friend of mine. And I think that you owe him an apology. And let's put it this way. He was intense. I wasn't scared or anything, but I'm like, you know what? he's right. I didn't argue with him. I said, you know what? You're right, Henry. And he put his arm around me. He goes, I knew I could talk some sense into you. And so then that's how we became really good friends.
Yeah.
But I had other instances like that you learn, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure Tim could tell you a million things. And these people in this area, I would do stuff to get a reaction. There's some things you can do. Not in this day and age, you can't do some of the things I did. So I really, everybody, I'm a big pro wrestling fan, old school, and I became friends with some of these guys. The Sheik was friends, and the Sheik was friends with my family and this, that. And, I used to do the Ric Flair woos. We'd have drops, and people, didn't understand it. Now you listen to these shows, and they do all that stuff. I'm like, I was doing this stuff 20, 25 years ago.
So how long were you on the radio?
How long before I moved to Alabama?
Yeah.
27 years.
27 years, and for a while you had your own show, right?
For most of the time I had my own
show. Just by yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And I like it better like that. But at one point in time, there was a time when Jeff left the show, and they didn't know if they wanted to continue me. And Jim Jensen went to bat for me, and so did Tim Stout. And so it was called Mad Dog and Company. So I would bring in, this is a hilarious story, I would bring in Kelly Miller, Sam Vincent, because those guys were here, Mike Peplowski, and then there was a cat, Joey Campbell hooked me up with, John Cooper. You ever heard of him?
Yeah, he went to law school.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, I know him as a lawyer.
So, Jill Kopech? You know who Jill Kopech is? That was his partner.
Oh, okay.
Okay, they were off of Clippert. Well, I didn't know him.
Oh.
So he took Kelly Miller's spot, coaching the junior team out of,
right.
So
on the west side.
Joey Campbell couldn't, the Summit. So Joey Campbell couldn't do the show anymore because he was one of the guys, and he goes, Dave, I have this guy, and he's a little green, but he wants to do this and and I go, what's his name? He goes, John Cooper. And so he and I talked on the phone, and he came in. He did it for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. We became instant friends. Trying to think of the LPGA pro golfer that was his girlfriend that he met at Walnut Hills, and her dad was the women's basketball coach at Notre Dame. And if you heard her name, he didn't marry her though. So anyway, he leaves. He calls me. He goes, Dog, I'm going to go into the minors, and I'm going to try my hand at coaching in the minors. So this is like years later.
Right.
Like 5-6 years later. And I got my head down, I'm doing something, and I got the Red Wings on, and they said, we want to welcome the new Tampa Bay head coach, John Cooper. And I said, what the hell? John Cooper is in, and now he's won 2 Stanley Cups. He's going to the Hall of Fame.
And he coached the Olympic team.
And he is one hell of a guy. Yeah, that's right. He's an attorney just like you.
Yeah, I knew him when he was in private practice, and last time I saw him, he was here for Ron Mason's funeral.
Yeah, I was there.
And I saw him.
Ron Mason gave me a lot of advice. And one of the things he told me was, Dave, I know that you're self-taught, and I know this, that. Don't let anybody change you. And you know who else was a mentor of mine? Was Howard Seufer.
Oh, really?
He was a mentor of mine. And he said the same thing. And so you get older, you change. So you don't want people to know what's happening.
27 years in the radio, most of it, running your own show.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think your best attributes are.
Not only entertaining, I would say storytelling. I would say my investigating people's backgrounds and knowing stuff about them that they don't know, or they don't know, but I mean that I shouldn't know.
That's not public. Yeah.
And that's one thing Stout's taught me too, is whomever the boss is, no matter if it's right or wrong, you go with you don't buck the boss. You go with the flow.
Right.
You want to be a team player, and that's what I look at myself as a utility team player. And I didn't tell you what I did in Alabama.
Oh, wait, we're not there yet.
Oh, no, I don't know how much time we have left.
I don't know.
Well, anyway, yeah.
But my thing is, I think one of your best attributes from being on the radio and hosting your own show was the guests you brought on.
We got some unbelievable guests.
Yeah, I mean,
That's why
I couldn't understand it. Like
said-
I would, and I don't listen to the radio that much. I really don't. But there would be times when I did, and it seemed like you were friends with Denny McClain.
I am friends with Denny McClain.
Is he still alive?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You want to talk to him?
No. I think my brother knew him too.
Yeah.
But that's just one example.
No, I'll give you a lot of examples.
Yeah, well, let's talk about some of your guests.
All right. So one of the most
let me. There's a trick we do when we're doing jury selection. They say if you frame the question like this, you might not get the number one answer, but you get the top three, which was, tell me who you think was the biggest guest you had on, as far as, like a Muhammad Ali would be, right?
Well, you go to my Facebook, you'll see Bob Every gave me an opportunity to meet Muhammad Ali twice, but he was getting into a point where, because of the Parkinson's, he couldn't talk. But I spent 6 hours of my life with Muhammad Ali.
Right,
but he wasn't on the show, though.
As far as on the show, tell me who you think were some of the biggest guests that you had.
I think Jim Brown, John Wooden, Donald Trump. I don't know. There's been so many of them.
Yeah, that's three heavy hitters.
I mean, that's just
how do you get a guy like John Wooden on? Like, what are you telling people? Like, hey, come on my radio.
No, I just Brock Palmbush called him, but I had his number. One of the most unbelievable stories was David Stern. I called David Stern.
The NBA commissioner.
It was almost like Andy Dufresne in Shawshank Redemption. He said he mailed a letter every week, and then I called his office every day for like 2 months. And the guy goes, "Is this Mad Dog guy from Lansing? What do you want?" So then I hear David Stern say, "Who is it?" He said, "It's that Mad Dog." He goes, "Give me the phone." So he goes, David Stern here. He goes, what do you want? And I said, "I do this sports talk radio show. I'd like you to be a guest." He goes, "I can't do that." And I said, "Well, why not?" I said, "Because it's not a big show and it's not a big city." I go, "What the hell?" He goes, "All right, tell me something about yourself." And I said, I've been doing this.
Yeah, that's the same question I asked.
I said, yeah. So, all right. So you're right, David Stern there, the commissioner of Abood Law.
Right.
So he says, "Tell me something about yourself." I said, "Well, my family owned Demarco's restaurant from Eagles. Stop right there. Your family owned a restaurant for over like 85 years or what?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, my family owned Stern's Deli in Chelsea, New York, and that's where I grew up." Right there, I had him hooked. And so he asked me, I go, "Did you guys have a great pastrami sandwich?" He goes, "Oh my God, unbelievable." And I said, "Well, you ever heard of the Rascal House in Miami?" He goes, "I've been there." I go, "Been there 100 times. And so he goes, "Okay, so what do you want, Dave? When do you want me on?" So he came on 3 times, and Roland Lazenby, who did this book on Irvin Johnson, I met him, or I got hooked up with him through Tom Matt. But Roland and I are good friends now. And for me to hook David Stern, he doesn't do it. He wouldn't ever go on hardly. I think I heard him once on Jim Rome. And
so David Stern?
Yeah. And so when
is he still alive?
No, he passed away.
Just recently?
He passed away. And see, he was the attorney for the NBA to Larry.
So just to get back to the only reason why you got him is you called him every day for 2 months.
Yeah. Called his office.
Every day for 2 months.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day. And I did that with a few people, but every day.
How'd you get Jim Brown?
That is a really wild story. That's right when I first started with the sports guys. I got his number.
And Jim Brown, it would be difficult to compare anybody with Jim Brown, but he would be maybe as close to Muhammad Ali in the 60s and 70s.
Oh,
you think?
Yeah, I mean they were tight.
No, I mean as far as stature in the country. I mean, still today people might identify
He's
him.
one of the three top greatest running backs in the history of NFL, and he quit because he couldn't get paid right, and he became he did the Dirty Dozen, became a movie star.
Right.
So I called and he was in California. So I got a hold of his wife, and he came to the phone.
How?
I get these numbers. And so he goes, no, he goes, man, I'll come on. So he came on, and he liked all the questions.
I mean, okay, like you get Jim Brown, and you're like, this is Mad Dog. I got a radio station.
Yeah. Well, no, that's exactly how I had to build that up and say, I wouldn't lie to anybody. I just tell them this is I'm just starting out, and a lot of these guys would say, great, I'll come on. And so he came on, and then when Granholm was still the governor. Granholm was still the governor. Her husband had a show at the radio station.
Dan Mulhern.
I became friends with him, and they brought
not a sports show.
Americon is what Jim Brown called it, where he took gang members and got them to go to college and got them off the streets. He came from Cleveland to Lansing. So Michael Grenewald, I told you, the guy that got me hooked up at Channel 6,
right?
He called me, and he was working with me at the station. He goes, David, you got to come here right now, because my show was on in the morning. Right. And he goes, you got to come here right now. Jim Brown is here at the radio station. And I said, get the hell out. He goes, Dave, he's here right here. So I had his football card. So I got in the car and just gone 90 miles an hour.
What was he doing here?
He was with Dan Mulhern and Granholm, and he was promoting for Detroit and Michigan.
The gang thing.
Yeah. And so I come downstairs, and they go, this is David Mad Dog. And the guy hugs me, and I'm not going to tell you on the air what he said, nothing swearing, but it was very, well, because I can't drop any F-bombs. He didn't say that.
Yeah, can't we do that?
No,
yeah,
I'm not. It's not professional. I'm not going to do that. He was
very
complimentary.
You're quoting him.
He just said, this guy is one of the best at what he does since I've been a professional athlete.
That's exactly what he said.
In that neighborhood.
Well, let's get the exact address.
I can't remember. I didn't tape it. And so I gave him the football card. I go, give this to your son. He goes, no, I'm going to keep it. And so then he came on a couple other times, and then of course, he got crippled. Another guy that it was unbelievable being with Jim Brown. And then Jack Tatum, he was another guy from the Raiders and from Ohio State.
I was going to say Pittsburgh Steelers, but he wasn't part of that.
He was on the field at the American he was. Immaculate Reception.
Yeah.
And so Tatum came on, because I'm a big Raiders guy, and Tatum came on. I love Jack Tatum.
Then how'd you get him on?
Got his number, and again, I called his wife.
I mean, was this when you're looking in the yellow pages?
No, I had people that were looking out for me.
Are you paying?
Some people I did.
Did Hank help you?
Some people I did.
Hank could have probably got that number.
Well, no, he got me one, but some people. So Tatum was unbelievable, and he knew, that I knew a lot of stuff about him, but
sometimes that's like a turnoff.
Well, no, when you say something that's good, people like that. So I'm trying to think of the player that he played against at Purdue. And the name escapes me. People are going to be watching their known name. His son plays in the NFL. They had a collision, and Henry was on the field.
College game or
pro game?
Oh, where he
this
got paralyzed.
Guy played, yeah. And so they never talked. So Jack's on the radio. He's got a real deep voice like that.
Yeah.
And so I said to him, I asked him about it. He said, listen, you're a nice guy. Don't ever ask me that again. Okay, Mad Dog, because I won't come out if you ever ask me that again. Those guys never met and never talked about that. That was like Goose Gossage. He said the same thing about Jose Canseco with me when I was asking about, because Canseco came out with the book, Juiced, a couple of them, and he didn't really appreciate what Canseco was true. I mean, what he said. He never got sued by anybody.
Right. Tell me what you're talking about.
About what? Tatum? Or
no.
Canseco and
Mark Canseco. Yeah, what are you talking about?
Okay, so Goose Gossage,
right?
He used to come on all the time too. Right. You know who he is?
Yeah.
Okay, he's an intense fella too.
Okay.
I always would go to intense guys.
Yeah, no, I don't understand.
Because they're entertaining. I don't want a guy selling Avon.
I don't understand what Mark Canseco accused.
No, Jose Canseco. You're thinking of Mark McGuire.
Yeah.
You're confused on this.
Yeah, no, so Canseco accused...
Canseco, he didn't accuse Gossage of anything. He just didn't like that Canseco came out with this book, and he what happens in Las Vegas stays in Las Vegas. That's not what he did. He told the guys that did the steroids. He told the womanizers, and Gossage didn't like that. And Gossage said that his last team that Gossage pitched for was the A's, and he said his locker was right next to him, and he said, I never effing talked to the guy once. And then he said to me, if you ask me about Jose Canseco again, I'm going to hang up on you. So, I mean, I've had people hang up.
Who's the guy that, or woman or star that you interviewed that maybe wasn't the biggest, but you thought, man, this person is really cool? It could have been the biggest. Obviously, you spent time with.
Well, I would say a guy that I've really become close with would be Tom Izzo. I mean, I didn't know Tom Izzo when I first met him would, be like he is now. And Nick Saban disliked me vehemently. Because I ripped him. I would rip him on the radio.
When he was at Michigan
when he was
State?
At State, oh yeah.
So 95 to 2000.
He disliked me, but it was I picked on him, and he's not used to getting picked on.
He had some tough games here.
I'll tell you one story, and you were involved in it.
Tom Izzo, you think, was the biggest?
I mean, Tom is a guy that
the coolest. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I've only seen him once in 3.5 years, but when my mom had stage 4 lung cancer, I mean, he took it upon himself to take the initiative to call her, to talk to her. I mean,
that's great.
He's been here. He had gone through everything, and I'm not going to say people's names. Everybody knows you. Part of Michigan, so you know the deal. But the one story that you were involved with,
I was,
yeah, because I called you, is when Paul Levine had the Michigan State ESPN magazine on that Sunday about the Nasser situation, and they incorporated D'Antonio and Izzo in it, and a guy that you represented, Travis Walton, and they had Travis Walton on, and so I called you Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And I said, that's okay, I said that, right?
I guess.
Well, and I said, I'm going to have her on the show.
He can edit anything.
I'm going to have her on the show. I mean, I want formulate a couple questions for me to ask her.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. Sunday morning, I sent you a couple.
That's right. And so when she was on, I don't know, a few months before that, talking about a book, hawking a book that she had written about Baylor's football coach. So she comes on, and I go, hey, Paul, how's it going? Good, Mad Dog, how you doing? Good. And I probably, at that point in time, I'd been on over 20 years, 22 years.
That would have been like maybe 18 or 19.
Yeah, something like that.
19.
And so
maybe 20. No, it was even before 19. It was 2018.
Was it? I thought it was later than that.
No, I remember sitting in that room.
Well, anyway, I said, you had Travis Walton on. Why didn't we all want the truth in all this, right? She said, yeah, we all want the truth. I go, well, why didn't you interview Travis Walton's attorney? And that would have been you. And she, oh boy, it was like I could feel a whole dust storm coming my way. And she's like, well, we interviewed him. Why would we interview his attorney? I go, because maybe you'd get more information. And I said, if you were hanging around East Lansing, I said he wouldn't be a hard guy to get a hold of. So then it just, sort of
wasn't like this.
No, this is fun.
It wasn't.
No, we're laughing, and no, it wasn't.
It wasn't an interview like that.
And she said she would never come. She never. There was other hosts that tried to get her on. She never came on any show in Lansing or East Lansing again.
I spent a lot of time with Travis, and he's obviously made an impact on me, and worked here at the firm, and I've never seen him do anything that was inappropriate. And
it wasn't right.
He's my guy. And I call him from time to time. He always responds, and I hope he continues to do great things. But who's the
keep throwing him? He keeps throwing them. Keep throwing the questions.
Who's the person that you wanted to get on?
Tiger Woods.
That you never did?
Tiger Woods. I tried.
Did you get his number?
No, I saw him, though.
At
the Firestone. I did, because...
You would have had to drive down.
No, the other station that I worked for in Lansing, their headquarters was Rubber City Group, and they were in Akron.
Okay.
So the Firestone's in Akron.
Right.
So Brock Palmish and I had driven there. They set it up.
Right.
And
What do you mean they set it up?
they set it up where I came and did my show
Oh,
from the Firestone.
Yeah.
I did. I've
Okay.
done them all over, man.
All right.
And so I come out of the bathroom, and Tiger Woods is like, "From here to Charlie," and I'm like, I just nodded, and he nodded. And I'm like, God, I'd give anything to have him on, but he didn't come on.
When would that have been?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, that would have been maybe 1999.
Yeah. Yeah. So when he was
Just a pup, just starting out.
well, 98.
And then,
97. Yeah.
Joe Willie Namath, could never get him. Gail Sayers, couldn't ever get him. Bobby Orr, couldn't ever get him. I did get Johnny Miller.
Oh, you did?
Johnny Miller I got on. He was really good. I'm trying to think of whom else that I tried, and I just couldn't get him on. I don't know. There's been, there's only so many people. I did learn this, though. If you're calling pro teams, the guys that take for marketing, they don't. If I'm not ESPN or Fox,
Right.
or unless
Right.
now it might maybe different, but then because Kelly Miller, I told you he was on the show, he played in the NHL for 14 years,
Right.
and so Kelly, he's doing the show with me. He goes, Dave, how come you never called the Capitals to get me on your show? I go, called you all the time. I said they never gave him the number.
He's a class
And
act.
then the Tony Mandrich thing, the same thing happened to
Did you
him.
have him on?
I had him on, interviewed him at length. Another guy that I had on through all that stuff, I don't know, there's been so many, man.
I'll tell you somebody who you had on.
Who's that?
Who do you think I'm going to say?
I don't know, man. You know a million people.
Dan Olson?
Well, he's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
He's Dan Olson.
He's a great guest, isn't he?
He's Dan Olson.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say how we became friends, but
Why not?
Well, he came to my wedding.
Oh, okay.
Well, what happened is he wanted to come on the show, and then he had a friend contact me, and so then, Dan Olson is a phenom. Now, did you golf against him in high school?
Yeah.
Then John Nagel, you golfed against him in high school?
Johnny and I were, Johnny went to Sexton.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I was older than him.
Okay.
And Dan is older than Johnny.
Dan he's unbelievable.
Dan was, if I would have been a senior, he would have been a freshman or a sophomore, and I played against him. I played against him at Chisholm Hills. Was really the first time. I didn't even know. And be honest, a guy named Kerry Campbell, who I don't know.
No, I don't know him.
He went to East Lansing. He was the number one guy. He was a year older than me. And his senior year, he had one other player that was a senior, and then a bunch of young kids, Brian Donahue and
I heard of him.
and Dan Olson, I think, was on that team. And Dan was maybe his freshman year. He was on, and so he tells the story. I don't think he was any good, but between his freshman year and his sophomore year, he grew 4 inches, and he all of a sudden became strong and tall, and he could hit the ball a long way. And all of a sudden, I was playing an event with him, and I was like, Jesus, where the fuck did this kid come from? And I started talking to him, and then my brother Jerome, who was a year younger than me, played a lot of competitive rounds against Dan as juniors, and I think Jerome beat him most of the time. But Jerome would have been a senior. But then Jerome's senior year in the state finals, Dan was the medalist and beat Jerome. So Dan, ultimately won that.
You can talk to him about anything. When he had gone to Indiana University, he was friends with Bob Knight.
This is supposed to be, yeah, I know.
He played golf with Bob Knight.
Yeah, well, he didn't tell that story, but he told how Bob Knight took care of him.
He did. He told me the story.
But here's a thing that I'll ask you, and I ask it in a loving way. Is he super highly intelligent or really stupid?
Dan?
Yeah.
No, I think he's a very intelligent man.
Yeah. Because he's really articulate, and he's a great storyteller, and I can't. But some of the things he said, he's super funny. right?
That's why he and I get along
But
well because we.
A lot of people when he comes on your radio show or you talk to him for 5 minutes, a lot of people get the impression that he's not.
You want to hear a story about him?
Yeah, we're gonna get there, but I want to give a little bit of backstory. I want your opinion. We're not
No,
here.
I'm telling you right now.
But I think he is.
I'm not just saying he's friend. I think he's a very intelligent.
I don't think
articulate's a good word for him.
Yeah, I don't think he could come up with stories and do the things unless he was like a high functioning sort of introvert who's thought about things. Because the things he says, you just can't. You couldn't do it. Most people couldn't.
I can relate to him. That's because that's how I try to be too.
Think for hours and couldn't do it. But tell me the story you want to tell me about.
All right, so I would always delve into his closet of stuff that he knew.
Yeah, because he played on the tour for several years.
So
he qualified and
he comes on the show. I didn't even really have to probe. I said, so what's going on? Da 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 da. He says, how did that work? He starts talking about Tiger Woods, and he likes Eldrick Tiger Woods.
Right.
But he starts saying that the balls that he used were sort of juiced up, and he starts saying a few things about Tiger, about steroids, and it's not a big deal. So
you mean exactly when he said it?
What do you mean?
When he said it, it wasn't a big deal. But
he's on the radio.
No, I mean,
I didn't think it was a big deal. I really didn't. I mean, he was. So coincidentally, well, not in a bad. It was a bad weekend. My cousin Bill passed away. Bill Demarco. So I was all wrapped up in this stuff with my cousin.
Right.
I get to work Monday. And Brandon Howell, who used to have a show, Beanie, he was our first digital guy. And he goes, Dave, did you see how many hits the interview with you and Dan Olson had? And I said, well, no, how in the hell would I see that? He said, you had like 300,000 hits. And I'm like, or something crazy. It was just nuts.
Right, a big number.
So Carol and I had just moved out of my condo. So I would go to my condo and like get food and eat lunch there sitting on the floor with no furniture. Right. But I still owned it. So he calls me. Olson does. Well, I take that back. I had gone to ABC Warehouse. They were a client of mine on South Pennsylvania. And I'm looking at the TVs, and it says...
Is that where Beach now worked? Or?
Yeah. Dana worked at the West Side.
Dana, oh, yeah.
He was a good friend. And I look, and it says, Tim Finchin says what Dan Olson said about Tiger Woods, this, that, and whatever. And then whomever Tiger Woods, still his agent, said the same thing. And I'm like, what the hell? It's like sit on this Mad Dog show. And I'm like, that's unbelievable. And Howell just told me like a half an hour before. So I go home, I go to this empty condo, and Dan calls me. And he says, David, he said, have you heard what's going on? I said, no, what is going on? He goes, I have to retract that story. And I said, he goes, what do I do? And I go, I spoke to my lawyers, and what do I do? I go, well, did it happen? Did what you said? He goes, yes, it happened. But he goes, I got to retract it. So he sent a letter to Brandon Howell, and Brandon Howell put it on our website. But then Jim Rome got involved in talking about it, and he gave me some good stuff. Dan Patrick started talking about it. Christine Brennan called me. She's a friend about it, and it was unbelievable how it caught it. The whole name. I had friends calling me from all over the country because my name was involved in it. I didn't do anything. I mean, the management there. I go, I didn't say it.
You published it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
you published it.
It's like okay, so. Like I had Ted Nugent live in the studio.
Did they threaten to sue you?
No, nobody threatened to sue anybody.
Tiger never did?
No, he never. He just had to retract it, and once he retracted it, just went away.
That would have been like...
I got it on my phone. I'll send it to you.
I'm telling you when it was. It was probably 2014.
Yeah, because that's when Carol and I got married. So
I'm just telling you, it was sometime.
I'll send it to you because I took a picture of it.
Listen, I was in Naples,
You saw it.
and I was working on a case down there, homicide. And it had been brought to my attention what happened with somebody had said, "Hey, did you see what's happening?" And I had Dan's cell phone number, and
Sure.
I had done some stuff for him when he worked for Gary Ganakis here in town.
Yeah, he was tight with Gary.
Yeah, and so I called him. I probably had a 40-minute conversation with him about the whole thing. I was down on Fifth Street. I had stayed at the inn on Fifth, and I had gotten up in the morning. I was walking around, and I'll call him, and I talked to him for about 40 minutes. But the reason why I know the time frame is because that's when I was down in Naples working, like 2013, 2014.
So maybe you were the advisor to him.
Well, I can't tell you what.
It's none of my business. I mean, it's not.
I can't tell you what I talked to him about, but I can tell you that I know that I know the time period it
Yeah.
was, and Dan is a lightning rod, kind of like you. He can say things, but he says it in a way that's
I like that lightning rod. I
not only
get that tattooed
believable,
on my
not
arm.
only believable, but
Factual. He has said things that I've heard on Tim's show or other shows that he's a great storyteller.
I don't know anything about Tiger Woods, of what's true and what's not true.
Sure you don't.
What I can tell you is this: if somebody said you can go sit in a bus or a van, and we can run your blood through one of those things,
Yeah.
and you'll hit it 20 yards farther in the Saturday game at the Lansing Country Club,
You do it.
I'd probably do it. Not for $1 billion like Tiger Woods has probably made, but just to win the Saturday game.
Well,
Yeah.
I always said that.
Yeah.
If I was playing,
I'm going to hit it 20 yards farther against my buddies. Yeah.
I said that. I'll be honest. If I was playing Major League Baseball and during the steroid era, I would have done him in a heartbeat.
Yeah, but for $1 billion, are you kidding me? I mean, it's nobody. A Mother Teresa probably would do it.
Well, I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so Pete Rose isn't or didn't get in yet because of his gambling. Shoeless Joe didn't get in because of the 1919 Arnold Rothstein thing. And there's other guys that did steroids, but there's other guys that did do PEDs that are in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, well,
But as far as Olson goes, yeah, that's a true story.
yeah. No, I mean, I consider Dan a friend of mine.
He is a friend of yours,
Yeah.
friend of mine,
Yeah. And got to tell you, I hated him at East Lansing.
because he was your competitor.
Right, because
Yeah.
we didn't like those guys, and we were from Sexton, and the East Lansing was different deal. But so you doing a job you love, right?
Yeah, sure. And we're gonna make
And you
make money.
you really like it, and you like the idea of it's opening up doors for you, right?
I've met a lot of people through this job. There's no getting around it. Some of the people in the last 25 years,
You have a platform.
I'm
You had
I'm in the Greater Lansing Sports Hall of Fame.
I mean, Tom Izzo might not even have known who you were. Wouldn't have
No,
called
he
him
wouldn't have.
if you weren't on the right.
He and Lupe are great people. No,
Tim Stout probably wouldn't know who you
he'd
were.
probably be glad that he didn't know me.
Right. And then you decide, I'm going to walk away.
Yeah, it's true.
Why?
Well,
I mean, was it
that's-
like a Barry Sanders deal? Where
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, tell me about it.
Well, what happened is my brother-in-law, he and my sister-in-law, and my niece and nephew lived in Ackworth, Georgia. You've heard of it.
No, I haven't. But
It's
okay.
it's a nice town. It's Ackworth, Georgia.
I've heard of Georgia.
And so they moved to Dallas, Georgia, but he had land in Cedar Bluff, Alabama, it's a mountainous area called the Bluffs. So he took Carol and I about 5 or 6 years ago. We had visited, and he takes me and Carol up with my sister-in-law and him, and he has 2 lots. They're big lots. And he says, "Dave, I'll sell you this lot." And unexpectedly, the 3 of them stood there, and I just told that story as I walked the perimeter. It's fertile ground for Native American history and Civil War history. And my parents who were deceased, Ed and Corky, said, "Dave, you got to move here." So I walked up to her, and you can confer with her, and I said, "We're moving." And she's like, "Okay." So that process began then. I bought the land from him. We sold our home in Groesbeck. We lived for almost a year in my stepson's house on LaSalle and Saginaw by Channel 6, and we moved and lived on Coolidge Street off Grand River. Carol's deceased aunt and uncle, we lived in their house, and we built our house. But when we moved there, it wasn't done yet. So then I had to tell everybody that I'm moving to Alabama. And people just thought I was crazy, or they thought it's not going to happen, or they thought this, that, and whatever.
Right.
And then I had my last show going on 4 years ago, May 13th at 1 North West. There was like 500 people there. Izzo came, Andy Shore came, and then we moved. And that was it.
Couldn't you have done the show from down there?
They wanted me to, but they weren't going to pay me. They weren't going to pay me properly. And I'm like, I'm not going to do it. So what I did is I still sold sports advertising like I did with you for Michigan State and with the Tigers and the Lions for like 2 years, did well. I thought I did well. But when Carol and I had gone there the second time, that area in northeast Alabama, it's called Center, Alabama, Centre. There's one radio station.
Mm-hmm.
So we go back in the woods, and this older man comes out and he goes, "Can I help you folks?" And we said, "Yeah, is Jerry Baker here?" He said, "You got him, young man." We sat with the guy for like an hour and a half. He did an impromptu interview CNA with me, and he's like, "Dave, when you move here, you get a hold of me, and we're going to hire you." But they didn't do sports radio.
What's a CNA?
He did ask me like you are.
Q&A.
Whatever.
Q&A, question and answer.
Well, I call it that, so what I call it, I go with it.
CNA.
What do you like?
CNA is something else.
Anyway,
Isn't that like a nurse?
So anyway, we had gone down there for a year, and I still did call him because I was busy selling advertising for up here. So finally, I had to go back to work at a brick and mortar place, and I called him, and he brought me in, and he turned me into a newsman. And Carol, my stepson, Tony Kovac, got in a serious injury downtown Lansing, and she left to take care of my stepson, her son, for 3 months. So this man worked with me and turned me into a really good newsman, because there's always stuff going on down there. And I did that for 18 months. He let me do a sports show.
On TV?
No, it was radio.
Oh, radio.
It was funny what you did there. You did the local news, you did the inmate report,
The weather.
the weather, and then what's happening. And
Events.
I got to be friends with all the mayors,
Events.
Events, local happenings, and I got to be friends with all the mayors and all the police chiefs and everybody. So it was, and then I got to do a sports show, and they loved it.
What is this? What does the wrestler say?
Which one?
Isn't this saying you got to leave?
Got to be the man to beat the man?
No, you got to leave Lansing if you're going to be the $1 Million Man.
Something like that. Ted DiBiase.
Yeah.
I interviewed him.
It wasn't leave Lansing, but you gotta leave Lansing if you want to be the $1 Million Man.
Well, I left. People ask me, "Are you happy that you did that?" I am, but I mean, now going there was hard. Coming back has been hard, but we're on the right track.
Well, why come back?
Because my wife got very homesick a year ago, and this is my home. Our parents are buried at St. Joe Cemetery. My in-laws, Carol's first husband, my friend Joe Kovac. So there's not really anybody properly to take care of their grave sites, and it was time. It was time to come back. So we were there for 3.5 years. I met some really good people. I networked very, very well, and like I told you, I became friends with a lot of the mayors down there in the small towns. And now, did you ever watch the show with Jason Bateman, Ozark? Did you ever watch that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I lived in a place that was a combination of Ozark and Green Acres.
Yeah, there you go.
It is. And
what were they doing, meth down there?
That is the cartel comes out of Atlanta, and even El Chapo has some blood relatives in Cedartown, Georgia, which is close. But as far as the drugs coming through there, Albertville, Alabama is only 45 minutes from us. That's one of the biggest hubs for drugs to come by. There's a lot of 18-wheelers come by, and they go to Florida. They're going to Tuscaloosa. They're going to New Orleans. They're going all over. So yes, there's a lot of meth, a lot of fentanyl, and crap that goes through that area, the country.
It's killing. It's a killer.
It is a killer.
So you're coming back to Lansing.
I am back.
You are back.
1 month.
And you're going to have your own television show.
That's correct.
Tell me about that.
Well, like I told you at the beginning, it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be fun. It's like we're sitting around here. It's going to be fun.
Tell me what the format is.
The format is that I'm going to be inquisitive of people's business, how they got into it, just like how you're asking me. But it's going to be different. It's sort of like you've had different kind of viewpoints of law and sports, and it's going to be of sports. You're going to be on it.
I am.
If you want.
What's the name of the show?
Right there. What's that say? I gave you the sticker. You're full.
Beyond the Playbook.
That's what it with David Mad Dog DeMarco. And in the podcast is going to be the same thing. I'm also they built a radio studio in Channel 6 at WLNS. It's really nice.
Tell me about the podcast. Is the same name?
Yes. And I was talking to Charlie about it. They have an apparatus. I got to learn it's a digital thing, but the anchors are doing it right now. Jorma and Cleffler, but they edit. But like he's going to edit this, but mine's not going to be. I'm just going to let it fly,
let it roll.
Yeah.
And the idea is
to be entertaining.
No, I get it, but the idea is somebody would come on your show, and would it be like an 8-minute segment, a 10-minute segment?
No, it's going to be an hour segment.
An hour segment with
the radio. I'm either going to do it by myself sometimes, or I'm going to have, like I was telling Charlie, I'm going to have a guest. I might have, through Team Apps, have a guest via telephone. We're going to have it where people can call in. And, like I told them, we can have like 10 different varieties of shows. You do it as long as I have. And I'm at a point where I'm 66, going to be 67. I used to like freak out about comfort zones, and I don't give a crap about get out of the comfort zone.
And how do you make money doing that?
Sponsorships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
you want to be one?
We'll see.
Okay.
When do you
start?
Yeah. When will
the podcast could start maybe in 2 weeks. In probably the television show will start either in June or July.
And they'll promote that?
They're going to promote the hell out of it.
Yeah. And who's your first guest? Do you know? Do you have
for the TV or for the podcast?
For the podcast.
I'm not sure yet. I might be Dale Beard and Jay Vincent. They don't even know it.
Oh, that's perfect. And what about for the show?
It could be Tom and Lupe.
Really?
If they could do it.
You gotta swing for the fences there.
I'm not here to push baby buggies. You know that.
That's the way you started this show.
I mean, what the hell? What am I going to have some? I could have anybody. I try to have anybody, but I want to have somebody that I really have a lot of respect for. Not that was probably stupid to say, but I mean, Tom Izzo and Lupe are really good people. Dale Beard and Jay can talk about. Dale graduated in '78, and he's Irvin's cousin. And Jay and Irvin.
Dale played forever, though.
Yeah.
He was Irvin's point guard?
Yes.
Or, not point guard.
Yes.
But he was a guy.
Well, yeah, Irvin was the point guard.
Yeah.
And he revolutionized. I interviewed Irvin Johnson one time in person.
Really?
And we know each other, but he wanted to do a thing at the Meyer on Saginaw. And so I'm like, hell yeah, I want to do it.
On the west side.
They built a stage. They had all this stuff. And
right.
And so he comes, and it's unbelievable how big Irvin John and Jay Vincent. They're enormous cats. Right. So Irvin, I said, Irvin, I don't really want to ask you this on there. I said, I really don't want to talk to you about the Lakers. I want to talk to you about Reggie Chastain and George Fox and going to Dwight Rich and having your picture in Faces in the Crowd in Sports Illustrated. He liked that. And so we started there.
Yeah, he could slam in 8th grade.
And we taught, and so what happened is we're talking, and all of a sudden the show crapped out. it was dead air, and we had a Comrex that was plugged into their emergency in the back room of the Meijer there. Mike Borick at the time was the director, and he goes back there, and an employee had unplugged it and plugged the phone back in to call his girlfriend in London.
We've never had that problem.
And so I don't think that guy was working there very much longer. But Irvin was great. I mean, we've had so many. I interviewed Hank Aaron.
And tell me how often you'll be
The TV show.
yeah.
It'll probably be
Weekly?
it'll be once a Sunday, every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
And then the podcast, I was telling Charlie, we really haven't got a definitive time. I might go to 3 times a week, but I'm just going to guide myself through this for
What do
a
you
while.
think of this show?
I think it's good. I think you do good. I mean, you're one of the best attorneys you're one of the best attorneys probably in the country at what you do.
That's nice.
Well, it's factual. But what I'm saying
I'm
is,
not going to argue with you.
So you're really intuitive to asking questions and probing and getting the right information. That's why people want to hire you to be their
I
attorney.
had Keith Nickel on,
Yeah, well, I mean,
and Keith tells a story about the Little Giants play, right?
Little Giants. I saw that.
Right?
I saw that.
And one of the things that I wanted to ask him about was the catch.
Yeah, the catch
Right.
against Wisconsin.
Right. And so
That was on my birthday.
And so
October
there are
22nd.
certain moments in your life, I'm sure there are for you,
Mm-hmm.
where you knew exactly where you were, or whether for a lot of us who watch sports, because there's an emotional attachment, we remember everything about how we felt when something happened. And I remember being at that game. It was electric.
Yeah.
Right. And my buddy, one of my best friends, left the game. I said, "What are you doing?"
What's his name?
Well, you wouldn't know him, and he's not from here.
Okay.
But it's almost like the movie was when Robin Williams says, "I had to see about a girl."
Yeah.
He left the game to go see a girl. He had to, and then at the end of the
Well,
game,
my wife's here, so I'm not going to really.
yeah. But
comment on
anyway, he left.
But I
to go
understand I understand where
He
you're
left.
going.
I said, "Where are you going? This is great." Because we came back and it was close. So he left at halftime. And anyway, this is telling a short story of the long way, right? So anyway, he obviously catches, great game. You remember being there in the stadium, the whole thing. I have him sitting here right where you're sitting. We get through the whole thing, and I'm like, I didn't ask him about
Did
the
you ask
catch.
him? Did you ask
I
him
didn't ask him.
afterward?
I didn't ask him about the catch
At all?
Like-
Did you ask him after the show?
I
After
asked
you got
him.
done?
No, well, I text him. I know Keith well, and I talk to him pretty regular. We're going to DC on Friday, and I said, "You got to come back. I gotta ask you."
I think that he was probably on the Mad Dog show once. Kirk Cousins beat him out. That was in the CMU game. That's when.
We lost to CMU.
Well, that's
we
because
talked about
of what's his name that
Antonio Brown.
Yeah, he made his living on that game.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown. And see, I'm a CMU guy, and Butch Jones was the head coach. But Keith Nickel also wouldn't have been wide receiver. And I thought Nickel was going to have a chance to play in the NFL. He turned into a really good wide receiver.
He's still a big guy.
And see, don't forget, he left Lowell to go to Oklahoma.
Yeah, no, we
And
talked
then he was
about
the
it.
starting. I didn't see that, but he was the starting quarterback
Sam
over the
Bra-
Heisman Trophy winner for a while.
I think Bradford got
For Bradford, either got hurt, but he was
maybe
starting.
got hurt,
And
but
then
he played. He played his freshman year. He played some.
So that worked out. Yeah, he did. I remember.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was very good at the quarterback position, and whoever thought Kirk Cousins was going to turn out to be the way he is. I mean, he was solid, but I mean, he's made a lot of money.
Yeah, he sure has. Well, this has been great.
I appreciate it.
How long? Oh yeah, well, way over the A-list hour.
Well, what am I going to tell
I'm
you?
glad. I'm really looking forward to bigger and better things. And
It's going to be good.
the one thing about you could have gone anywhere. Once you leave Alabama, you didn't have to come back to Lansing, right?
Lansing's our home, and we missed our family. We missed our friends. I missed Andrew Abood. I mean, we missed a lot of people. Sam Abood. We did. I missed my cousins. for me to pull off what we've done, if financially it's going to end up real good. But it's been wild. I mean, it has, and I'm glad we moved. I'm glad I went there, and I'm glad I come back.
That's great. Thanks for coming on.
All right, thank you, Mr. Abood.
Yeah, thank you, Mad Dog.
All right, you got it.